Alright, getting ready for another rough drafts, another one of our 2016, the year of the flashback rough drafts. This week, the flashback queue is Triple Mirrodin. So I've drafted Triple Mirrodin a little bit, not all that much, and not in a long time. All of my Mirrodin experience is on Magic Online and other flashbacks. Anyway, let's see how this goes. Sort by rarity. So our rare is Scythe of the Wretched. +2/+2, whenever a creature dealt damage by it dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control and attach the scythe to it. What else do we have? Affinity for artifacts, +1/+0. Doesn't seem that powerful. I know Loxodon Warhammer is good, or at least I would assume it is. I don't see any real removal. Granite Shard is probably fine. It's an artifact pinger. That might be the pick. Nim Replica, Clockwork Beetle. Granite Shard seems pretty good. There's a lot of things that it could ping. 3-mana Mana Dork. Loxodon Warhammer or Granite Shard. I think I'm going to take Granite Shard. I think that's better than the Warhammer. This format's not that aggressive. It's a pretty defensive format. Well, Blinding Beam is insane. I know that. No doubt about that. Electrostatic Bolt is also really good. Does 2 damage to a creature, or 4 damage if it's an artifact creature. Blinding Beam taps 2 creatures, and if you entwine it, which is only 1 more mana, so for 4 mana, those creatures a player controls does untap. So it kind of time walks your opponent's attackers. Mirror Enforcer is good with a lot of artifacts. Chimney Imp is well known to be incredibly horrible. A 1/2 flyer for 5. I think it's either this Electrostatic Bolt or Blinding Beam. Yeah. I think I'm just taking Electrostatic Bolt since we already have Granite Shard. And we don't have to play Granite Shard in a red deck, but it's better in a red deck, that's for sure. Oh man, that is another Blinding Beam. Someone is getting hooked up with Blinding Beams. So if we're going red, we have a Shatter, we have an Iron Mirror. I don't know what Blinkmoth Urn does. At the beginning of each opponent's pre-combat main phase, if Blinkmoth Urn is untapped, that player adds 1 to his mana pool for each artifact he or she controls. That could be a sweet against the odds card. Another Blood Set. Those are just floating around the table. Serum Tank. Whenever it or another artifact enters the battlefield, you put a charge counter on it. Remove a charge counter, pay 3, you can draw a card. Clockwork Condor kills itself. I think we're just taking Shatter. There are a lot of artifacts, so Shatter is a fine place to be in this format. Now we have Vorak Battlehorns. Equipped creature has Trample. Can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. Mindstorm Crown. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card if you have no cards in your hand. At the beginning of this turn, if you had cards in your hand, it deals a damage to you. Exiles a permanent you control. More Chimney Imps. Elf Replica doesn't hit an artifact. Leonin Denguard. Now I think we're looking at what... I mean, for value, we could just be snapping off these artifact lands, which do have some amount of value. And I guess they're not completely unplayable. But we don't have any creatures yet. We could take this Leonin Denguard, but I don't know if we want to be an aggressive deck. None of the other stuff appeals, though. We'll take it. I don't know if that's where we end up or not. Wrench Mind is really good. Whoa. Molder Slug is huge. Beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices an artifact. So we could take Molder Slug and try to be the anti-artifact deck. That seems pretty good in this format. That's a big flyer, but you have to sack artifacts or it taps and deals damage to you. Regress, I think, is probably decent. Mirror Enforcer. Well, this is a choice. We see 2 big green cards here. Wormskin Forger is playable in Molder Slug. I think we're going to take the Molder Slug and kind of move towards a red-green deck that hates on artifacts instead of being an artifact deck. Just looked up Molten Rain. Almost a ticket online. Not a bad rare draft. Tower of Murmurs seems like it can close out the game pretty quickly. Leonin Elder, Titanium Golem. This Berserker is probably fine. Yeah, I mean, let's take Molten Rain. It's worth a ticket. If we're gonna lose the draft, we might as well get some value out of it. A 3/3 for 6. Whenever Goth Skither becomes blocked, you may return a card named Goth Skither from your graveyard to your hand. I guess this thing's foil. Flayed Nim. Yeah, we'll take this. I think we want to stay away from... If we're going to be playing this Molder Slug, we want to stay away from playing artifacts if we can. At least ones that sit on the battlefield. And we take Chromatic Sphere. It's a low opportunity cost card. Clockwork Beetle. Not great. Contaminated Bonds. I think we'll just take this Vault of Whispers. Value. Gotta take the value. Blood Scent, Mirror Prototype. This card is weird. 5 mana 2/2 gets a counter at the beginning of your upkeep, but you have to pay 1 for each counter to attack or block. I guess we'll take Fists of the Anvil. Whoa! Well, I know Blinding Beam should not be in that pack. It is one of the better commons in the entire set. So, Mr. Chimney Imp still floating around. None of this stuff seems especially relevant. Yeah, we'll take that Spell Bomb. Take Rust Elemental. Well, maybe we're... I guess we can be 3-color. We could be white, green, and red. Well, I guess we'll take this white creature. I don't think Disarm is relevant to our deck. So I'm not really sure how to evaluate this so far. Molder Slug, I'm pretty sure, is awesome if we build around it. Granite Shard is good. Electrostatic Bolt is solid. Groff Skither. Oh, it's like a German beast that somehow showed up on Mirrodin. Yeah, the second Sunrise isn't worth much. I just checked. Big winner is Oblivion Stone, obviously, which we didn't open. Well, Pyrite Spell Bomb, I'm sure is fine. It's another removal spell. Clockwork Vorak. Enters with 4 counters, 5 mana, has trample. When it attacks or blocks to remove a counter, you can tap it to add a counter. Ether Spell Bomb, I know is good. Carrot Clan Grunts. Yeah, let's just take this Pyrite Spell Bomb. Even though we're... Ooh. Ooh, Plated Slagworm. Plated Slagworm is big. If we get to cast that... I don't know. Whoa, actually, I think 1 Dozen Eyes is insane, though. Is a 5/5 or 5/1/1s for 6 mana, or you can Entwine it and do both. That is a lot of value. There's also Electrostatic Bolt. I think we gotta get creatures, though. Man, Electrostatic Bolt's so good. We have a Granite Shard. Do we want Plated Slagworm or 1 Dozen Eyes? I don't know how anyone beats a Plated Slagworm. Let's take Plated Slagworm. Speaking of ways to beat Plated Slagworm, that's a Barter in Blood. Makes each player sack 2 creatures. Crazy charge counter card. Skeleton Shard is strong, but we're not really playing artifact creatures. We might just take another... Ooh. Goblin Replica? That's fine. I think I'm going to take that over Blinding Beam. There's still a chance that we don't end up playing white. And this is just a 2/2 for 3 that we can randomly sacrifice to destroy an artifact. Ooh, Proteus Staff. Proteus Staff is cool, but I think we're probably taking another big green creature. So many 7-drops. Actually, this one's pretty sweet, too. We could take this slightly more expensive spider that isn't a spider, and then hope that one of these 2 table. I mean, this isn't playable in limited, but it's pretty cool. You can kind of use it like a polymorph, basically. But you gotta have a creature on the battlefield. Yeah, let's take the 5-drop. See if one of those 7-drops table. Sun Droplet is kind of sweet. It's not really good, but I might be taking it because I think it's actually worth something. Yeah, I don't think we're playing any of this stuff, and Sun Droplet is worth over a ticket. So we'll take it. So far we have a Sun Droplet and a Molten Rain. So that's about 2 tickets worth of value. Which isn't bad. I mean, yeah, not great, but also not bad. Our deck seems reasonable-ish. Other than Granite Shard, all of our artifacts sack, so they don't really have to sit out on the battlefield, which is good with our Molder Slug. Here, Foil Welding Jar. Sees play in Affinity in Modern. Still not going on the Grofskither plan. Counters an activated ability from an artifact source, so 1/1 for 1. I think we're just taking another one of these archers. The big reach thing. This looks familiar. Wrench Mind. Wrench Mind's only 38 cents, so we're not going to take it. I think we're just taking this Wormskin Forger. It's the best green card. So basically, it looks like our plan is to kill things early and then play huge green creatures late. It's a little underpowered. 2/3 for 4. I wish it was a 3/3, obviously. I don't know, it regenerates. Quicksilver Fountain. Beginning of each player's upkeep, that player puts a flood counter on target non-island land he or she controls of his or her choice. That land is an island as long as there's a flood counter at the beginning of the end step. If all lands on the battlefield are islands, remove all flood counters from them. Well, we're just taking another Blinding Beam. We are splashing white. For some reason, people in this pot are not valuing Blinding Beam. So we're going to want to pick up a little bit more fixing, Chromatic Spheres or something, to play a white source. And the Entwine cost is colorless, so we only need 1 white mana. But that seems really insane with our fatties, too. We have, like our Plated Slagworm. Wormskin Forger it seems horrible. 2/2 for 7. But when it enters, you get to distribute 3+1/+1 counters among up to 3 creatures. So it's actually a 5/5 for 7, which still isn't great, but being able to move the counters around does make it a little more valuable. And we'd put them on our Plated Slagworm, make it an 11/11. Pretty big. 14 playables. Not horrible. I'm fairly happy with most of our playables, so that's a good thing. It's not like we're playing a bunch of absolute horrible cards. Alright, there's another Chromatic Sphere. Helps us splash our Binding Beams, and it cycles so easily that it's just a very low opportunity cost way to fill a slot in our deck. Target permanent gains protection from artifacts or the color of your choice until end of turn. Regenerate each creature control. Wail of the Nim deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. Oh, we can get rid of this. Slith Bloodletter. So it gets a counter whenever it deals combat damage, and you can regenerate it. That's probably the most annoying creature there. Life Spark Spellbomb. I guess we can take this also because it cycles. Or maybe we take this Pewter Goblin. Pewter Golem. We're going to take. We might need Life Spark Spellbomb just to fill out our deck. Oh, Grofskither. We'll just take. Shout out to Mere Mind Servant. Pay to shuffle your library. In case there wasn't enough shuffling in Magic already. Turn to Dust, I guess, could be sideboard playable. Destroys an equipment for 1 green and adds the green back to your mana pool. So it's sort of free, I guess, in some sense. Alright, so we're up to 16 playables. Some of them are just purely artifacts that cycle, which is fine. Alright. We're taking it. I guess Vorak Battlehorns. Trample and can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. Seems good on Plated Slagworm. And Clockwork Beetle with the last pick. Alright, let's open an Oblivion Stone, and then we can just call it a day. Or a March to the Machines. So, what are we looking at in this pack? Not taking March to the Machines. There's another Goblin Replica. Could take that. Sacks to destroy an artifact. 2/2 for 3. Dusk Worker. Whenever it becomes block, regenerate it. You can pump it for 3 colorless. Annul. Counters an artifact or enchantment. I think we're just taking this Goblin Replica. We're still not that heavy on creatures. Nightmare Lash is sweet, but I don't think we can play it. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each swamp you control, and you pay 3 life to equip it. Mirror Golem. You can exile a card from a graveyard and has protection from those types. Rustspore Ram. 1/3 for 4, destroys an equipment. Another Chromatic Sphere we could take. Skyhunter Patrol I know is good, but I don't think we can play double white. Skyhunter Cub is sweet with equipment. Pewter Golem would be fine if we weren't playing Molder Slug. A little worried about that. Great Furnace is actually worth over a ticket. We could just take that. Guess we take another Chromatic Sphere. Coppermere. I think we got to take that even though we have the Molder Slug. Just because when we don't have a Molder Slug, it will help us ramp into our big creatures, and then if we have to sack it in the late game, that's fine. Thirst is awesome, and I would even consider trying to play it off of our spell bombs, but another Shatter, another Mirror. I think we're taking the Mirror. There was also a Goblin Pinger. Got to pay 1 and tap it. Deals damage equal to its power. Its power is 1. Kind of the original Spike Shot Elder. Whoa! Tower of Eons. That is a lot of life to gain. Search your library for 2 basic land cards. Reveal them. Put them in your hand. Shuffle your library. Or play 2 additional lands. That's probably good with our expensive creatures. There was also a Deconstruct, which is another artifact removal spell. That was the other option. Alright. This deck looks somewhat reasonable. I did kind of want the fixing, so we can play like a Plains and search it out for our Blinding Beams. We have a decent amount of ways to kill artifacts, so that's good. Double Goblin Replica, Shatter. Ooh. Well, we were getting hooked up with some Mirror in this pack. We hadn't really seen many Mirror all draft, and now we're about to take our 3rd one in a row. Looming Hoverguards seems pretty good. Put an artifact on top of its owner's library. I gotta read this card because I have no idea what it does. Time Sifter. At the beginning of each upkeep, each player exiles the top card of his or her library. The player who exiled the card with the highest converted mana cost takes an extra turn after this one. If 2 or more players are tied for the highest cost, the tied player repeats this process until the tie is broken. Another Against the Odds card. Mirrodin is like the Against the Odds block. We're just going to take the Mirror, though. Now we have... Ooh. That was a nice pickup. Just a 4/4 trample for 5. Fangren Hunter. War Elemental. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless an opponent was dealt damage each turn. Whenever an opponent was dealt damage, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. It seems pretty powerful, but are we going to have enough enough red mana to cast it? Creatures target player controls attacks this turn disable. Creatures you control gain first strike. That could be a blowout in the right situation. Heartwood Shard is interesting. Let's take War Elemental. I don't know if we'll play it. Gonna money draft this Seat of the Synod, adding a couple ticks to our pile. Goblin Striker doesn't seem playable. Raise the Alarm. Take Raise the Alarm, I guess. Seems like someone could play that against us, and it might be decent if we have a slow draw. So the question is going to be, can we play this thing? I think either we are cutting Life Spark Spellbomb, or we're cutting the War Elemental. It is kind of hard to make work. Goblin Dirigible. Doesn't untap. Can play 4 to untap it. 4/4 flyer for 6. Gonna just take that awe strike, get rid of it. +1/+1 counter on target creature. Sweet. Whale of the Nim foil. Yeah, we'll take another turn to dust. More. Take this rare. More equipment hate. Yeah, I don't know if we can play War Elemental in this deck. That seems ambitious. We'd have to like have triple red attack with like a mirror or something. Yeah, we're not playing that. It does seem sweet to like have it on the battlefield and hit for 8 and make it a 9/9 or whatever, but it seems like a lot of work. Which I guess means it's Lifespark Spellbomb's lucky day. It looks like it's actually going to make our deck. Is there anything we can bring in? More random Spellbombs for cycling. Couple rare drafted artifact lands. I wonder if you could pull a profit in this format. I might have to try it. Just drafting artifact lands, because they're worth almost a ticket a piece. And if you just, instead of focusing on making a playable deck, just drafted all the artifact lands, you might be able to make a profit. They're likely to get passed, because they're not especially playable. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything we can bring in. So I'm going to add some lands. Couple red sources. Couple white sources. Journey of Discovery can search out our red and white sources. We have 3 chromatic spheres to fix our mana. I guess we're basically green. We have these early game artifacts, an Electrostatic Bolt, a Shatter, and some fat green creatures. Yeah, I'm going to run it like this. We'll see how it goes. I will be back with round 1.